Good evening and welcome to the Bellefleur Tire Shop Grand Falls Rapids pregame show. I'm Tyler Rains, and there is a lot, and I mean a lot, to discuss on the eve of the Wildcats. That's right, the Valley Wildcats make the trip all the way up from Nova Scotia to come into town and play the Grand Falls Rapids here tonight. Now, the last time these two teams faced off, the Valley Wildcats got the victory in what was a dominant win over the Grand Falls Rapids. But tonight, these Rapids are looking to set their ground, regain their footing, and turn that 2-6 record into something that is more like a 6-6 record. That's what they're looking to start. Now, getting into the matchups, let's look at the tail of the tape here. The Valley Wildcats boasting a 4-4-0 record. For third place in the East South Division, only 2 points behind the Amherst Ramblers. And the Rapids, on the other hand, a 2-6 record on the season. Your goal scorers for each team. For the Rapids, it's Jonah Leard, who has been nothing short of impressive so far this season. And for the Valley Wildcats, Jake Beardsmore, who has really been establishing his footing on this Valley Wildcats lineup. Points-wise, Jonah Leard, again, for the Grand Falls Rapids with 8 points, and for the Valley Wildcats, they've just been completely generating offense as much as they possibly can. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the special teams. So this is a game where the special teams are not really going to be your friend, because you look at both of these teams on paper. They have very good rosters and a lot of good talent, but their power play stats have not been great this year. So you look at the Valley Wildcats on the season, they are 10 for 43. That is a 23.3% on the power play this season. For the Rapids, even worse, 14.7%. They went 3 for 27. So in terms of their power play, neither team has been overly successful, but on the penalty kill, that is where they've been very, very good. The Valley Wildcats, 79.3% on that penalty kill, and for the Grand Falls Rapids, 77.8%. Now, for those who are stats nerds, like myself, those are just the little things that you pick up on. But for those who don't really keep up with the stats or don't really know what they mean, that means that 77% of the penalties that the Rapids have taken are killed off and are not scored on opportunities. So special teams in this one is not really going to be a factor. You're going to look for most of your goals 5-on-5. You're going to have those opportunities to score from every area of the ice. I mean, we saw Jonah Leard in the past couple of games. He looked incredible and is really looking to have a breakout year. And so far, I would say he has. On the other side, the Valley Wildcats are looking at getting that second place spot in the division, but the Grand Falls Rapids have a chance to not only stop them from doing that, but continue to get themselves out of the hole and turn that 2-6 record into something that is more like a 6-6 record, and building off of, obviously, those wins from there. There's a lot to discuss on this episode. Not just the matchup from today. The Campbellton Tigers are in town on Sunday afternoon as well to face off against the Grand Falls Rapids in a division rivalry matchup. The Rapids have acquired a brand new face, and there is a lot of incredible things here to talk about. So I want to first off say that the Rapids, like I just mentioned, have a familiar face. We're going to talk about that next. But first, we're going to go to our first ad break. Hey, Rapids fans, ready to kick your game into high gear? When it comes to keeping your ride as pristine as possible, look no further than Bellefleur Tire Shop, who is your MVP. Whether you need fresh tires to tackle the toughest roads or expert mechanics to give your car a winning tune-up, they've got you covered. At Bellefleur Tire Shop, every drive should feel like a championship victory. With unbeatable prices and service that's always on point, they'll help you roll into your next adventure with confidence. So before you head out to cheer on the Rapids, head on down to Bellefleur Tire Shop and get your vehicle game ready. Bellefleur Tire Shop. Drive the best, leave the rest. All right, and that was our sponsor for the show, as always, Bellefleur Tire Shop. Great service, amazing people there as well, and always a friendly face. There is another segment that I'm going to be introducing to the show every pregame. It's going to be called our Alumni Spotlight. So basically what that's going to do is it's going to highlight some past Rapids players and showcase where they are now, what they're currently up to, and a look back on their time in the Grand Falls Rapids uniform. So today's first Rapids Alumni Spotlight goes to Colin Parker, who recently committed to the University of Dalhousie Tigers, where he's already played a couple of games. Hasn't been on the score sheet yet, but it won't take very long through his MHL career. Played one season with the Grand Falls Rapids, a total of 135 games, and through those 135 games, 53 points, including with the Rapids, 19 points in 48 games. That is Colin Parker on the Alumni Spotlight for this edition of the pregame. Once again, if you're wondering what he's up to, look no further than the Dalhousie Tigers in University. And another really interesting addition that the Grand Falls Rapids have made as well, and I'm sure a lot of you have already heard, but if not, Dawson Grandy will be joining the Grand Falls Rapids. Now, this is a player who I am very excited to see, someone who I've been keeping track of for a little while now as well. 58 points in 52 games. With the Elite Hockey Academy in the United States. He's a 6-foot-tall, 178-pound player who is an incredible body in front of the net. You look at some of his highlights, you always see that he is that net front guy, and he likes to score goals from that area, but he is such a dynamic player, someone who I'm really looking forward to watching, and I'm sure all of you will as well. So now what you're getting with him, you may not be getting the fastest speed, but you have a hard shot. You have a guy who's ready to get in front of the net and score from those areas that are not impossible, that are hard to score from. So that's what you're getting with Dawson Grandy. We will see very shortly if he's going to be making his debut tonight. If not, then we will be seeing him in the very near future. But this is a player to get excited about. There's already a lot of great talent on this roster, and adding to that is Dawson Grandy. Welcome to Grand Falls, Dawson. We're looking forward to having you here. Now, as well with that, I want to continue the next chapter of the On the Bench series. As I mentioned before, without coaches, you can't have a team, and without a team, well, hockey just doesn't exist. So in this episode of the Behind the Bench series, I sat down with PWHL Montreal, formerly PWHL Montreal head coach, Kory Cheverie, now the head coach of the Montreal Victoire of the PWHL. And we got to talk about a lot of things. The first PWHL inaugural season, her playing career, coaching at the national level with Team Canada, and so much more. Before I take you into that, I would like to thank you for watching this episode of the Grand Falls Rapids pregame show presented by Bellefleur Tire Shop. And I would also encourage you to, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit the little bell for notification for all future content so you don't miss a minute of the action. With that being said, thank you very much for watching, and enjoy. Tyler Raines, joined by PWHL Montreal head coach Kory Cheverie. So first off, I have to say congratulations on an amazing season with Montreal. And how are you feeling after a great season?
Yeah, I mean, lots to build on, that's for sure. Really proud of our group and the way that we've improved throughout the season. You know, I think that our group continues to go up, and really looking forward to year two. I think, you know, the draft was a big success for us, and you know, with the players that we have coming back, I think our camp is going to be extremely competitive, and just looking forward to getting back in front of the Montreal fans again.
And after year one, this is a huge, huge season for the PWHL, the first fully established women's league that's solid. Just wanted to get your thoughts on how everything came together and what you're expecting for the future of the league.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the league did a great job in terms of the amount of time that we had. You know, I think it was more than what I had expected. Fortunately for us in Montreal, we had sellout crowds for every single game, and I think that that momentum that we generated this year will just continue on. And you know, I know people are going to be really excited about the names, logos, branding of all the teams coming up in September.
And now, you're a former player as well. What influenced you to make the jump from playing to coaching?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to stay involved in the game, but I think it was at that time probably time for me to retire. And I had a couple of coaching opportunities that were going to be lined up for me when I retired. And so I just wanted to stay involved. And I had been involved at the minor hockey level through kind of player development and skills and association development. And so I wanted to have a bigger role. And so it just seemed kind of like a natural progression.
And we're starting to see more and more female coaches in the semi-pro and pro levels. What are you expecting to see in the next couple of years in terms of female coaching?
Well, I hope that we start to see more, to be honest. I do think that, female coaches, they are extremely qualified, they're prepared, they're professional, they love the game, and, I think it's still going to take time, as we see. Like, Jess Campbell's the only one at the NHL level, and there still isn't, an assistant coach on the bench at the AHL level, because that was Jess. And then I believe that there's a couple at the university level in Canada and maybe in the States, but the number's just so low right now. And I think it really is going to be females working with males in order to get that number where we want it. I don't think that women can just do it necessarily on their own without the support of other women and the support of male coaches too.
And that's something we've started to see, especially at the international level. You've been on both the World Championships and the U18s as well, repping the Maple Leaf, whether it was on the bench or on the ice. What was that experience like for you?
I mean, with the under-18 men's team, it was pretty cool. Like, Fantilli and Bedard were on that team, and we didn't have the success that we would have probably liked in that tournament, but getting to know a different coaching staff, working with different athletes, to me, it makes me a better coach. It makes me better for the athletes that I'm going to be coming in contact with. So I try to get as much experience as I possibly can, and although sometimes it's an uncomfortable environment in terms of just something you're not used to as much, I think it's still good to get out of your comfort zone.
Absolutely. And for somebody who's looking into getting into coaching, whether it's at a low level or a higher level professionally, what kind of advice would you give them?
I would say stick with it. The coaching world can be tough, especially for women at the minor hockey level, and for men at the minor hockey level too. I think men are more likely looking to make coaching a profession, and women often are doing it on top of what their career is. Men are too, but I think sometimes you see a male coach that's coaching 3 different teams and he's making a living in Toronto. So I would just say stick with it. There's going to be hard times. My first year of head coaching, I wouldn't call it a disaster, but I would call it something close to that. And although I was doing my best and trying, the parents, they're tough. They did try to deter me, but I did not let that happen. And luckily, because I'm, I like where I'm at today.
There we are. And thank you very much for taking the time to do this, Kory. I really appreciate it, and we're wishing you all the best next season.
Thank you so much.